Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody is having a great time here at in this wonderful city, at this wonderful fair. I'm coming to tell you a little bit more about my refound love for the cannabis plant and how the social clubs in action, how it works practically. My name is Michel Degens. I'm from Belgium and I'm 30 years old. I'm a cannabis consumer since 1992. Right after I started consuming cannabis, I tried to grow my own plants, and I grew my first plants in 1994. I have been a customer for Dutch coffee shops for over 15 years. I live in Belgium. I live very close near to the Dutch border, and it's only a 15-20 minute drive. So in my town, Hasselt in Belgium, cannabis was always 15-20 minutes away. You jump in your car and you drive to the Netherlands where you could find your cannabis in a legal coffee shop. After that, I also was lucky enough to get employed and to find a job in a Dutch coffee shop. I worked over 5 years in a coffee shop that was divided in 2 periods. I worked for 3 years and a little bit more in a coffee shop back in the 90s, in the mid of the 90s. And I worked back in a coffee shop until 2012, until the weed pass. I became a member of the first Cannabis Social Club in Belgium, who's called Track to Plant. And I'm also the founder and the president of Belgium's second Cannabis Social Club, the Mambo Social Club. So when I was younger, as I told you, I had a very good interest in weed. And this picture you see here is from one of our earlier visits to Positronics in Amsterdam at the days. So we were young and we were interested in growing. So what better place was there to go than to Amsterdam to find out all about this magical plant and how you have to grow it and how you have to treat the plant to get good results. So that study trip resulted in setting up our own grow room. This was my grow room back in 1994 in Belgium. The technical methods were totally different at those days. It was also a little bit of pioneering. Fairs like this didn't exist. You could find some lamps if you search hard enough, but for the rest, you had to be inventive and creative, and you had to make it all up yourself. I made mine up with very thin plywood and sheets of aluminum foil at the time in it. And you can see it went quite well. This was citral we were growing at the time. I was very proud of my product at the time. And it was also a very good product, as you can tell by the looks of me. So that was more or less the beginning of my experiences with the cultivation of cannabis. Then afterwards, I was lucky enough to get a job in a coffee shop in Maastricht. This is the coffee shop where I worked. It's called the Heaven 69. And it was a coffee shop. We employed around 40 people to have the thing turning. It was open like 16 hours a day, and it was open 7 days a week. Only on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve we would close a little bit earlier, but it was a good running business and it were all legitimate jobs. We paid all the taxes on our job and everything was arranged like a normal job, like somebody who works in a pub. So it was not really something special. It looked like a decent, nice pub. This is what I really did in the shop. I made baggies and I was a bud tender. So these are a few of the examples of my early works. So I was the guy who was behind the scale and who distributed the cannabis, who manipulated the cannabis, who put it in the bag. So in the course over the years, you've seen everything. If you worked for that time in a coffee shop, you've seen the best and you've seen the worst and you've seen everything in between. So this was me at my old working spot in the coffee shop. It was around 2 square meters. This is the place where all the magic happened and where there was always something nice to smoke. You see, I had my computer there, my bags of weed, my scale. So it was more or less a wonder for a Belgian person to be able to work in a Dutch coffee shop. People are lining up in big queues to work in a coffee shop, and not even a day goes by without somebody saying, "Oh, you have the dream job. I would but like to be in your place." And to a certain extent, it is a dream job. It was the best job I ever had, and it was one of the most happy days of my life working there. I thought then at the moment, but I didn't know it only got better. So, the 1st of May in 2012, the Dutch minister Abstrakt decided to do something good for the world, but the problem was that he was quite short-minded and narrow. He had a quite narrow view, so he decided to make something up they called the weed pass. So only Dutch citizens were allowed to buy weed in Dutch coffee shops. I was a customer in the coffee shops for almost 20 years. I worked in one. I paid taxes in the Netherlands. All my friends lived in the Netherlands. I did all my shopping after the work happened in the Netherlands. So the unthinkable was going to happen. I was going to lose my job, and much worse, I was going to lose my access to cannabis. I've never bought cannabis on the black market or with street dealers. In my life, I only went to coffee shops because it was a good product they sold there. It was near and it was always available. So that threatened to become a problem. As a ex-coffee shop employee and a smoker, daily smoker for 20 years, I was not going to be able to get to my weed. At that time, there was a project emerging in Belgium. It was the first Cannabis Social Club. It was called Trek to Plant. And I was following them in the media and on the internet for a bit. And what they were doing seemed too good to be true, to be honest. And with the weed pass coming, it was the only option I had left to turn to Trek to Plant. In Belgium, we have a law that states that you can grow one plant if it's for personal use. And if you keep to that one plant, they can register you if you get caught by it, but they cannot take away the plant from you. So the cannabis can stay in your possession. So what I did was I joined up with them because one plant is a lot better than no plant at all. So I joined up with them and I became a member of the club. And when I became a member, I had to wait a few months till my first plant was harvested. And then I found myself one day standing in Antwerp, in my own country, on the distribution moment. That's when everybody gets together and the plants get distributed after the harvest. I found myself standing in my country and I was handed a bag of amnesia haze. The amnesia haze I was handed was for half the price. We sold it in the shops in Maastricht. It was much better quality than what we sold in the coffee shop. It tasted better, and most of all, I acquired it legally. I paid it with a bank transfer. I didn't have to leave my own country for it, and it was from my own plant that I had the right to keep in Belgium. So it was really a revelation standing there holding up a bag of A-grade wheat from your own plant for a price much cheaper than you're used to. So from that moment, I refound my love for the cannabis plant and for my country, because I always assumed life was a lot better in the Netherlands because there was wheat. But now in Belgium we could provide for ourselves, and that was such a boost to the morale. So I got really good in touch with the guys from Trek to Plant. This is one of the bags I received. As you can see, it's good cannabis. They were quite thick, dense nugs, just the way I like it. If you worked in a coffee shop for 6 years, your standard is getting up quite high, and you're not happy if you have to smoke whatever. So we had the standard up high, and the standard that was delivered by the Belgian Cannabis Social Club was also high, just like I'm used to it. Only the price was a lot cheaper, and I was sure it was grown biologically and 100% organically, and that nothing strange had happened afterwards and that it's not been manipulated or pesticides in it or whatever. So then we started out with a regional branch of Track to Plant in my town. I live around 80 kilometers from Antwerp, and that's a little bit far to drive if you know that before you only had to drive 15 minutes and now it was turning into an hour. So we started out with some friends and some people I knew, and we started out with a regional division of the Cannabis Social Club Track to Plant in Hasselt, in my town, and we started out with 10 people. The picture you see here is one of our first meetings, one of the first harvest festivals. This is when everybody gets together. We give them an update about what happens in the club. If there are decisions to be made, we ask for the advice of our members. And then, of course, we distribute the cannabis there. When our members come to collect the cannabis with us, they already paid it. They have to pay the cannabis in a week in advance, and they have to pay it through bank transfer. We don't handle cash in our club. Every payment that has been made is going through bank transfer, and that way everything stays transparent, and we always have proof of who got what, so it's always clear if there are questions asked afterwards. So we started out very small, as you see, and we did this for about a year, being a regional branch. And after a year, Joep from Track to Plant, Joep is the guy sitting over there. He's here at the NCAT stand. Please pay him a visit if you have the time later. So Joep took me under his wings and he guided me with the process of setting up my own Cannabis Social Club. All I had to do was do the same as they were doing in Antwerp, but I had to adapt it locally. So Joep took me under his wings and I really grew into the case. Everything, there was something going on. I was shown how it was done by the others, and so I knew how I had to do it. They were an example for me, and I'm very thankful to them that they want to serve as an example for me. So after that, we started out with our own proper Cannabis Social Club, an independent one, and we created a non-profit organization. To create a non-profit organization, you have to be with 3 persons in Belgium. I went to talk with a lot of people to found the club, but I came in contact with a lot of people, and I had the feeling there were hidden agendas everywhere. Not all intentions were as sincere, I believe. So that's created a little bit of a difficulty. So that's why I decided to start out the Cannabis Social Club together with my mother and my girlfriend. You see me here with my mother and my girlfriend when we were visiting a local hemp field that was illegal grown. It's the hemp, it's not cannabis with THC. So I got them on board. And there are a few reasons that I'm very thankful to have them on board. My girlfriend, you see on the left, her father has been diagnosed with cancer. He's well at the moment, but we are never sure if it's gonna come back. So my girlfriend, she was very interested in the medical sides and the medical benefits of cannabis, and she was willing to broaden her view on that and to learn on that. And then on the right you see my mother. My mother never had anything to do with cannabis herself. She never smoked a joint in her life, but I have also a brother and a sister who are from the same age I am, and they're also cannabis consumers. My mother, she's standing for all the parents who would like to have their kids a safe access to cannabis. My mother doesn't like us to smoke cannabis. She rather has we didn't do it, like she rather has we don't drink alcohol. But if we're gonna do it anyway, she thinks it's the best way to grow it ourselves organically and biologically, so we don't have to look around for it with people we don't know and we don't trust, and to get into situations where you don't know what you're buying and what happened with the product you're buying. So I started out the club with those people, and my mother's also a very good way for me to keep on the right track, because there are so many temptations in life. I cannot I wouldn't be able to look in the mirror for myself if my mother would go to jail because of something stupid I did. So my mother in the club is also a very good reason for me to keep very, very strict to the rules and not to be creative with rules like Belgian people are good at. So here you see one of the moments in the founding of the club. It's my girlfriend signing the papers, and as you see, my mother, after joining the club, she also got very interested in the subject, and she's very curious as well what we will find on our journey with setting up this Cannabis Social Club in Belgium. So now here is the key issue in our Cannabis Social Club that's called Mambo. This is Mambo himself. This is my one and only son. This is my dog. He's my best friend, and I named my club after my dog because dogs don't grow that old as people do, and later when he's not around anymore, I will be able to think of him every day when I see his name, and in that way I will carry him in my heart when he's not around anymore. So I hope he will be staying around for a long time. He's my best friend ever, and I hope I won't ever have to miss him, but reality is different. Dogs don't live that long as humans, so I will be honoring his name through my social club. And you have to admit, it sounds well too, the Mambo Social Club. So we thought it had a cool sounding to it, so that's why we went on with that name. So another important part for our club is the image. We don't want to be seen to the outside world as a bunch of hippies that found an easy way to get to their weed. So with our limited funds we invested in the renting of an office in a business center. Here you see the office of the Mambo Social Club. We are part of a very modernistic building with all the facilities we need. We have a coffee machine, we have a printer, we have a pool table, we have business rooms, we have reception rooms, we have everything we need to create a good and a proper image. We don't want to create a sphere of a dark hole where you get in and you get your cannabis. We want to work in the openness, and we want to present ourselves as a business that is run very well and not like a bunch of criminals earning money. At this moment, there's nobody who earned a cent so far or a euro so far with the Cannabis Social Club. Everybody's in it voluntarily at the moment because we're too small at the moment. In the future, hopefully I will be the first person or the first employee for my Cannabis Social Club. That day is getting nearer every day. It's just on the horizon, so I'm really looking forward to that day. And from then on, it's our plan to to expand a bit, to attract more members, to professionalize our workings. So in that way, we can grow a bit, and we have more possibilities also to do our lobby work for the future. So this is very important for us, the people who run the business center, that we will welcome there. Otherwise, we have to operate from a room or a table somewhere in somebody's apartment. We started out like that in the first 6 months or in the first period with Track to Plant, and it's not nice if you have everybody who wants to join the Cannabis Social Club passing through a living room at night when your girl is trying to watch television in her pajamas. So that's also a reason to keep things a little bit separated, and the most important, to create a good and a proper image, and not the image of a dark place where dark things happen. So then we started out with growing cannabis. As you can see here, we're succeeding quite well in that. This is one of our growth of our club, and we keep the scale quite small. Our biggest grow room has 36 plants at the moment, so we rather work as long as we don't have a big grow room for the club. We're working with people who tend to the plants at their house, and the biggest plant tender of us has the gardener. Let me put it that way. Our biggest gardener has 36 plants. Our smallest has 9, and our biggest has 36. In that way, everything gets divided among everybody, and there's not one people or one person who takes it all. We would like to avoid that, and we would like to see that it's everything that's generated in the club get distributed evenly. So that's why we also opt for small setups, and also small setups that gives us more varieties we can put if we have a lot of small setups. And another benefit of that as well is that if you have a lot of setups, they won't be synchronized anymore after a while if you're using different strains. So it means that there's always something ready to be distributed. Now, legally in Belgium, people are entitled to hold one plant. We do the distribution a little bit different. We learned that if you have your growing rooms, if they're not synchronized, there's always something ready. So we asked on our members, what do you want to do? Do you want to wait 3 or 4 months and have one whole plant? Or do you rather have a piece of a plant but have it quicker? So the second option was favorable by the members, and that way the amount they have to pay is also lower. It's easier to pay 100 euros every month or every 2 months than you have to pay 300 euros or 600 euros every 3 or 4 months. That's a different ball game. It's easier for the people if we distribute it in smaller quantities. That also gives us the possibility to grow a wider array of strains, because we only have smaller grow rooms. We grow our cannabis 100% organic and biologically. Our growers, they have to sign a protocol with which we line up all the rules that have to be followed. To ensure the quality we would like to have. So when the cannabis is distributed, the Belgian law says you can have 3 grams of cannabis or you can have 1 plant. So if we distribute the cannabis and a member goes home with, let's say, 20 grams of cannabis, if we would let him go with just a bag of 20 grams of cannabis and he would be stopped by the police, he would be carrying 20 grams of cannabis and he would risk to get in trouble. So that is why we distribute our cannabis, the plant in whole, with the sticks and with the leaves. Here is one of the bags, as they look like when we distribute the cannabis to our members. You see there are sticks in the bags, there are leaves in the bags, and there are bags with cannabis in the bags. All this together is 1 plant, and the Belgian law says 3 grams of cannabis or 1 plant. So with this package, our members always can prove that they're walking around with 1 plant. In this bag, this is also delivered with documents for the members. We have a document that gives them guidance to support if they have addiction problems. It's important to have a guideline there too, so you cannot be the people cannot say, "Oh, you're only talking promoting cannabis." No, we're also promoting for people to look help if they have problems with cannabis. So we also want to provide a line to that. We think this is very important to foresee that as well. And then there's also a photocopy of the documents that are hanging to the plant that go along with the bag. So when somebody goes home with his bag of cannabis, they always can prove where it comes from. When the cannabis is distributed, you see here some ready for distribution. It's clearly labeled and it's marked clearly what species it is, what seeds we used, so that it's grown biologically, organically, and the logo of the club is on there. So it looks like a nice package. It doesn't look like something criminal, and we provide all the information we have available for ourselves. In the future, we like to evolve to have every cannabis tested before it's handed out, but at the moment we're still too small to have that done. The costs of testing cannabis are too high for us at the moment because we're only working with small batches. After 2 years of operation, our last harvest gathering, we distributed 970 grams of cannabis. The members in our club, if they want to become a member, we also have an intake conversation with them to see what their personal history is, to see what their personal history in use is, how much they use, see if there are medical uses. So we are looking to help them as good as possible. Every cannabis user has different needs, and we try to help everybody in their personal needs and to find a product that fits them and that does what they wanted to do for them. This is what we are doing at the moment. We started out 2 years ago. The weed pass was coming. It was turning into a nightmare, but we turned the nightmare into a dream. In Belgium, we haven't been trialed yet. It's still an open case if the government thinks this is good or not. But I have the impression they give us the trust, and they're looking over our shoulders to see what we are making of it. And that is why it's also very important to have the right people involved with it and to keep the people out. The people who grow cannabis for our club are people who do it for the love of the plant and who are not in it for the money. If you want to make money, yeah, then you're at the wrong address with us, because with 9 or 36 plants you can make some money, but you sure will have to work for your money, because it's 4 months of investing in electricity, in genetics, in work. You have to cut it afterwards if everything goes well. It also can go the other way. You get spider mites or pest or rot, and then you lose everything. So it's still a risk. And in that way we think it's good to show that to the public opinion, that there's nobody who gets rich of this. Our members pay a fee of 25 euros a year for membership to become member of the club. And afterwards they pay 7 euros a gram. The 7 euros a gram, we divide that in growing costs. Our growers get paid 4 euros a gram for the cannabis they grow for the club, and 3 euros of the 7 euros is for the workings of the club, to rent the office and to pay the needs for the club. So if you look to that, we don't sell cannabis. The fee that people are paying, the 7 euros a gram, we call it the fee for tending to your plants. So you're not buying anything, because it is your plant already. From the moment we put the seed in the ground and your name goes around the plant is from you, it's your property, and it stays your property till the end. You only pay us for the watering and the gardening. That's the way we work. In that way we can declare it to our taxes as well. Our growers get a paper for the costs and for the rent of the grow place. So they can give everything, they can declare it with their taxes at the end of the year. So because the Belgian law doesn't foresee yet for cannabis to be declared, and we don't want to get caught by breaking the rules on tax declarations, we invented this loophole. So we are paying our growers for the rent and the work they are doing. That nobody's buying anything. The members are paying a fee for looking to their plants, and in that way our growers, they can give it or declare it at the tax office as rent they receive from the club for the place for the grow place. So this is more or less who we are, what we do. We are very happy we are growing cannabis on a legal way in our own country. The scale is a little bit too small. If you're a regular cannabis consumer, one plant is not sufficient for you. So in Belgium we created a situation at the moment that the members of the club, we can help them for 60-75%, and some of them even for 100%. But we cannot help everybody for everything they need. So we're obliged to push the people back for a certain moment to the black market. But we have a good base to work on here in Belgium at the moment. As time will evolve, I'm sure we will find some ways to work on that as well, together with politicians. And if we can come to a rule where we can have 3 or 5 plants, then you really can do something. But one plant is a lot better than no plant at all. And in a lot of countries, it's still no plant. So in Belgium, we are very happy. We are allowed to have the one plant, and we have the respect and the trust from the officials that they give us the trust to do what we do and to look before they judge. Then I also want to ask everybody, have a look on our website. You can find it here, www.mambosocialclub.be. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. This is important for us. We only have a small network. We're not advertising our social club actively. All the members we have come from mouth-to-mouth advertisement and from the word spreading around. We're not going to stand on a marketplace or in a shopping center waving flyers around to get members. No, we believe in growing organically and growing in a natural way, like our plants do, without any steroids or chemicals. We do it the natural way, the easy way, just like nature intended it to, and then we think we will get the best results in the end. So if you could help us build our network on Facebook and Twitter, you're more than welcome. We really would appreciate it. And we also have a donation button on the bottom of our website. If you have money to spend and you want to spend it to a good cause and you love cannabis, there's always an option to push the button on our website. And then, of course, weed changes people. That's true, but weed changes people for the best, I think. And so I wanted to stop my lecture with this slide. And I'm curious if anybody of you has any questions for me, and I'm more than happy to answer them. And I hope to see some social clubs sprouting around Europe everywhere. And I want to say, if you are growing cannabis illegally at the moment, document it and behave like a club. Although you are doing it illegally, document it and behave like a club. So if you get problems, if you work like the rules from the club, you have a good case to go to court, and also take affiliation with NCOT, that's the European branch or the European Federation, and almost any cannabis social clubs or industry people are affiliated. So if you're interested in doing things like this in the future, join NCOT, take a look at their site, and it's all there how it has to be done. I thank you for your attention. So now, if somebody has any questions, I'm a lot better in the less formal part than in the presentation part. So if everybody is, or anybody wants to share anything, please go ahead and be my guest.
Dobrý den, Vendo, Běláčková klinika adiktologie. Řeknu nejdřív anglicky a pak se přeložím. Hello, my name is Vendo Běláková from Department of Addictology. First of all, if you don't mind, I'd like to comment saying that everybody shall go to the social club if they're growing illegally. This is quite a tough thing to do if the police could judge your activity as organized crime.
Yes, but
that would be the setting in the Czech Republic at the moment, that you can grow 5 plants, but if you are growing it in a group, you could be charged with organized crime. So that's just a comment. And then I ask a question, and then I'll translate myself. My question would be from the perspective of a user. How would you say is the main difference in attending a social club than attending a coffee shop? Would there be an impact on your use patterns, the amount of cannabis you use, or anything like that? Jenom jsem chtěla říct, že ohledně toho pěstování ta výzva k těm social clubům je trochu jaksi na hraně, protože bychom mohli být posuzováni jako, že pácháme nějaký organizovaný zločin, pokud pěstujete více než 5 rostlin ve více lidech. A pak jsem se optala, jestli ty social cluby v porovnání třeba s nákupem v coffee shopu měly třeba na něj z pohledu uživatele nějaký dopad, ve smyslu, jestli užívá méně, více, jestli se to dá nějak popsat. Thank you.
To get to your first point, I think if you're doing it illegally anyway, you're doing it illegally. It's never gonna be legal. But if you're keeping to the rules that have been propagated and you're not earning money with it, and you can document that, and you don't go big with 2 or 3 or 4 people, you don't need to start up with 50 or 100 people. That is not the goal. The only goal for cannabis social clubs is not to make money for nobody, it's just to provide in your own cannabis. And if you can document that there's no money to be made, And if there's some money involved with the grow rooms or everything, to have a clear bookkeeping of where everything is. I think, in my opinion, if you do something illegally anyway, it's better to do it. It's still illegal, so it's better to make your intentions clear and to have everything documented, and to have documented that you're not growing with pesticides, or that you're growing organically, and that you're not going to put more plants, and that you're not going to steal electricity, and that you're going to use every safety issue that's possible, that you will take regard of that you will keep minors out. All those things, I think it can help you build your case. If you're growing cannabis illegally and you're doing it with a few friends, you're doing it in group anyway. If they catch you doing it illegally or with a club, the accusation will be the same. So I don't see any difference to that. To your question about the access to cannabis for the users, in Belgium, like I told, one plant is not enough. So we have never enough cannabis. Moderate users or people who use daily, they cannot sustain. We cannot sustain in everything they need. So there's still work to be done on that level in Belgium. But cannabis social clubs, they hold a register of everybody who had cannabis, what they had, how much, which species it was, when they had it, and through the bank accounts you can link that. So everything is transparent and clear. At any time we can show who had how many, what he paid for it, what kind it was, from which plant it's come. Everything is traceable in the club system.
Do I have to be a Belgian citizen to be a member in your club?
Yes, you have to be a Belgian citizen to be a member in a club. We operate under the Belgian law, and so we only can help people who live in Belgium. And I must say as well, in my country, a fair like this wouldn't be possible at the moment, even though we're broad viewed. Something like this happening in my country is not possible. So your country is not so bad at all. There's maybe some work to be done, but we have a whole future ahead of us.
My name is Matthias from Hamburg in Germany.
Yes,
How
Matthias.
about tax?
Tax. The Belgian government at the moment doesn't foresee any regulation for tax. So the tax we pay, it's in conjunction with the bookkeeper. There's tax to be paid by our club over the service we are delivering. We're not selling anything, we're delivering the service of looking or tending to a person's plant. And as for the part of the grower, when the grower gets paid, we pay him for the rent of the space. So that's put on the paper, the rent of the space plus the expenses like electricity and everything. So there's a whole on the Belgian tax, there's this piece foreseen. So if you rent a house or something, you can declare it there, and that's where they declare it. So officially they earned it with renting out the place, which is what they did, renting out place to the club and looking to the plants that's standing there.
Including tax. So the €7 include tax?
Yes, yes, the €7 includes tax. But we still have to find a regulation there somewhere in the future, because it's at the moment we are filling it out to the best we think we can do. We know it's not tax like it is meant to be, but there's nothing foreseen for tax like it's meant to be for cannabis. So we implemented it that way, so that there's money that goes to the tax, but in this way. In Belgium we are very good in creative thinking and working a way around something. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you learned something, and I hope you will have a nice afternoon here at the Cannafestu fair.